Well, it's opening week of the regular season, and 28 teams are going to be playing their first meaningful games of the year. With the new season, we have fresh round of power rankings. I did have a pre-spring training ranking, so this is going to reflect the good and bad news that's happened since then and the performances during spring. Before I kick off this list, I'd like you to consider subscribing. I'm going to be doing these power rankings every month, along with baseball content all year. Starting off this list at number 30, it's no surprise, but the White Sox. They may have an even worse roster than last year, and the only real surprise is if they don't beat their record-setting losing record of last year. On to number 29, we have the Marlins, who thankfully have Sandy back, but for how long? We'll likely see him on another team before the All-Star break. Next on the list, we have our first movement of the Cardinals, who have dropped one spot to 28. Seems like the Cardinals' placement this year is going to heavily rely on the performance of its young players, with the rumors of trades for its veteran players getting louder every day. Is it better to be famously terrible or forgotten? With the Cardinals moving down, the Rockies move up one spot to 27, and while you might not hear much about them this season, they did have an okay spring. Side note, I'd like to visit this ballpark this season, so I'll keep you updated on that. At 26, I know they're better than that, but I need the Angels to prove it to you guys so I can move them up this list. I consider them to be a contender in this weak West. I know Reds fans will strongly disagree on this number 25 ranking, and I will say that you are right if they can stay healthy. Terry Francona is not a manager I'd bet against anyone here, but the team needs to show up. At number 24, the Nationals will probably get sit here all season, but they do have a lot of young talent that could really carry this team. My only gripe is the supporting cast they brought in from the bargain bin. Dropping them down to 23, maybe I'm a hater, but I just don't see it with the Twins. They have great players for sure, but they just don't stay on the field. The one good thing I will say is I see big things from their top 3 starters this year. Mariners fans might be angry at this 22 ranking, but they should be mad at ownership for not bringing in that impact bat. They have the best pitching in the AL, but they get no support. A poor spring has me putting them towards the bottom this year, but they definitely can move up. Ranked at 21, a lot rests on the 22-year-old Paul Skeens. If he takes a step back, so will the team. If he makes another step towards Cy Young and gets just a little help from the rest of the roster, this team really could be a contender. The A's get ignored because of the circus disaster they left in Oakland, but bad ownership aside, I think they could really surprise a lot of teams with the young talent they have. A's at 20. There's a lot of unknowns with this franchise between the players, the ballpark, and if they'll even have the same owner. Their spring record isn't very telling either, so for now, Rays at 19. Okay, so when it comes to this close AL Central, I'm basing a lot of what I saw in spring training to differentiate these teams. I don't believe anyone's going to pull away, but if the Tigers can hang on and add that impact bat later on this season, it'll do wonders. Tigers at 18. I'm worried that the Guardians are headed for a big swing in the wrong direction this season. A lot went right for them last year, but they subtracted more than they added this offseason. And the spring training seems to confirm these worries. We'll see if I'm wrong at putting them at 17 and which way. Maybe I was wrong to start them at 21 in my last ranking, but the Blue Jays obviously didn't get who they wanted in the offseason. They seem to be firing on all cylinders in the Grapefruit League, so we'll see if they can carry that momentum into the regular season. Blue Jays at 16. Maybe I gave them the West a little bit too soon in my last ranking, but the team does have a lot of question marks, but still a lot of potential. The division is obviously still very up for grabs, but will they take it is anyone's guess. I have them taking 2 steps back on this ranking at number 15. We know who the Astros have been, and they're definitely going to still be in the hunt this season. But is it the end of an era for this team? Are we going to watch them fade away into left field with Altuve, or are they going to go for one last ride? Astros at 14. At number 13, Giants have some great players and have been having a great spring. But unfortunately, that still might not be enough for the other Giants of the West. On paper, the Brewers shouldn't be winning the division this year, but they seem to do it every year. Even then, competition is getting stiffer, but I still expect a playoff berth. Brewers at 12. At number 11, I'm riding high on the Royals as they seem to be the clear frontrunner to me. Of course, a lot of that rides on the back of a young Bobby Witt Jr., but if he continues to ball out like he has, they're going to surprise a lot of people. Kicking off the top 10, we have the Padres, who is still a very good team, but haven't changed much from last season. Unfortunately, everyone else in the division has, and the only team that matters to them has gotten even better. Is this slow spring something to worry about, or are they still a threat to the Dodgers? The first team we have with real games on record already is the Cubs at number 9. I don't think their 0-2 record is much to worry about as they came against the Dodgers, and with their strong spring, they have a lot to look forward to. This number 8 spot might not be far enough down, as the previous World Series contender Yankees have lost Cole, Stanton, and Gill. I don't believe them to be division contenders anymore, but they should still get a playoff spot with some good key trades. At number 7, this should be the Orioles' time to shine. Will that young homegrown core finally carry this team, and will they let go of some prospects to recover that pitching they need? Only time will tell. Braves at 6 are another team with a lot of talent and a lot of question marks. If their players perform like we know they can, this could be a top 2 team in baseball. At number 5, the Red Sox made some key acquisitions this offseason and now have some serious depth. Only question is this the best team in the AL now? And who's going to play third base? We know how Juan Soto will do, but what about the rest of the Mets? They have a loaded payroll, but still have a few gaps in that team. Whether they stay at number 4 is going to depend on who steps up. At number 3, the Diamondbacks would probably win any other division, but sadly, they're going to have to beat up against their opponents who are likely also going to be in the playoffs. Even still, this team could surprise their own division. At number 2, the Phillies are pretty much the same team as last year. I don't think they care much about the regular season, they just care about getting to that postseason. At 2-0, it's no surprise that the Dodgers are number 1. They have the most wins in baseball already, and that probably won't change all season. A coworker mentioned that you probably could make this team a split squad and it would still be one of the best 2 teams in baseball. Regardless, this team has a target on its back, and we'll see how the rest of the league fares. And that's my opening day power rankings. Please leave a like on the video and let me know what you think about your team's position. Also, let me know in the comments what you think your team's season record is going to be. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back next month with the updated power rankings. Bye.